Again. Okay, this time I'm home. I'm not living and driving. Gonna add these guys back. So, I mean,
Yay!
look, I think it was you guys, not me.
Oh, right, yes, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely
It had
all
it
me.
had nothing to
Yes.
do with me being on the road and my phone about to die. It had nothing to do with that.
You're magically not in a car now. Now you have
Exactly.
service.
I
It's
know.
crazy.
There's no correlation whatsoever.
I'm
AI
glad.
Um,
background.
but
It's AI.
but
Yeah.
what did I miss, Brady? You were talking about your teams, and I think you were answering Mike's question about like what makes somebody wrong for your team, or maybe not wrong is not the right word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. I think really we're looking for just the right person. It's not really the wrong person. I guess there's right and wrong, black and white, point blank. I changed my interview style and the process of which I go through, and I really just started putting out there, here's the list of criteria that I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone who wants a challenge. I'm looking for someone who gets excited by doing things that they've never done before, not scared. I'm looking for, and I wrote a narrative for the position we just hired for project
Mm.
manager, and it was a completely different format from all other resumes that I or applicant call outs, whatever you want to call them, that I put out there. It was just I wrote it differently. It was more of a message of here's what I want around me, and here's what I'm looking for, and the responses I got were much different. So the right person is someone who just no matter what we got to do is just get it done.
Excellent.
And I mean, I think so. Mike and I being in, uh, like we're growing our team too, right? Like we have conversations with people. In fact, I've had many conversations coincidentally with clients that are looking to get into real estate and
Mm.
get their license and be part of our team. But at the core of like what Mike and I believe in, and I think you're speaking our language here, is like are they not only like are they passionate about real estate, but are they like good people? Are they excited about the idea of like running a business on their own and being a part of something bigger and like being a part of like changing people's lives, right? Like that's not for everybody, and I think like there's a cliche phrase about like like basically you can't be everything for everyone, right? And that
Correct.
goes that
Yes.
goes with this whole idea of being a leader too. You cannot be a leader for everyone. So finding those people, and Mike and I are still trying to figure this out on our own, right? Is hard. It's very hard, and I think like it's a process, and there's several different exercises and iterations that need to happen before you kind of perfect that.
So what do you guys do for when you're looking to bring a new realtor onto the team? Do you have like a list of criteria, or how are you kind of going through I guess, the weeding out process or the interview process for that?
Mike, I'll let you answer that if you've got initial thoughts on it.
Yeah, my thoughts being over because there's been several iterations of this company as well. So
Mm-hmm.
there was a mode where we were expanding, and so when the process is hiring a lot more people quickly, that seems to be a recipe for disaster, at least in my experience, because you'll not be thorough enough to or you know allow
Yes.
the red flags that come up early. You'll just steamroll over them, and then
Mm-hmm.
end up handling them later on. So I think like our belief is that we want to get to, I don't know if you're at this point where our social or notoriety or name or we're so solidly being ourselves that people eventually come to us, which Saad has had happen for some clients, or people that want to become agents. And then at that point, are you like affable, intelligent? And then so the experience starts to not matter because we know we can get intelligent people up to speed.
Bingo. Yes.
Quickly. So that's
And,
that's my
and,
thought on
and
that.
Brady, one key thing on what Mike just mentioned is that in this business, in our business, like, I mean, the barrier to entry is super low, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of these brokerages, especially the big ones. You got your license and you can breathe, great, join us, right? Like,
I'll come out there. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Fantastic.
You're hired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And the reason that's the case is not only like, it's not even the 80-20 rule in our business. It's like 97-3, right?
Mhm.
Like 3% of the realtors are bringing in 97% of the business. So it is a numbers game, but the reason that works is that not only is your cost minimal per agent, they're paying you in a lot of these brokerages, right? The agents are paying to be a part of these bigger brokerages. And so what we're trying to do, and this is part of our process, is like do you we don't want to be of that mold. We want to separate ourselves. And the most important thing, I think, like in terms of the weeding out process, Mike, it's quite simple. It's like, if Mike has a conversation and he feels like they're a good fit, he's like, Saad, you have a conversation. And then if you feel like they're a good fit, then okay. Then like,
Can I tell you a crazy story?
Yeah.
Crazy story.
We welcome those. Yeah.
I won't use any names. So I was hiring. This was, oh God, it's got to be like 4 years ago. So I have a girl that works for me now. Her name's Amanda. She's my office manager. She's an absolute rock star. She's been with me for at least 3 years. But before her, I was interviewing for that position, and I had this lady apply. This person, I won't use any identifying factors. She applied for the position, and it was a phone interview, because I do like 3 levels of interviews, and so it was just a phone call, and I was like, wow, this is like very impressive. So then I did a virtual interview, and she absolutely killed it. I was like, oh my God, I think I found the right person, because I had no office staff at this time, so I was doing everything. So this is a big hire for me, very important. I was scared to hire this person because I'm going to be handing over my bank accounts and my QuickBooks and like everything. So I set up an in-person interview. The interview goes really well. Then it just keeps going. And she's just saying everything that it's just like everything I personally would want to hear. So it started to get a little weird how obvious it was. The interview, she kept talking and talking and talking. It went on for about an hour and a half. And finally, I was like, I got to go. I think I had to get up to Saad's house. And I was like, I got to get going. And so my wife was interviewing her because she was taking over my wife's position. And she left, and then I called her, my wife, and I was like, what do you think? She was like, something is off. I was like, okay, good. It's not just me. Because I had a habit of doing exactly what you said, Mike, and that is you look past, you think these things, you have this intuition, this gut feeling, you're like, I'm overthinking it. And you're like, I'm just going to give them a shot because I want to see the best in people. She's like, no, something's off. I was like, okay, good. Because I thought it was too good to be true. Like you're saying, too many of the right things. So she starts digging in. Come to find out, this person had been to prison for embezzling money out of small businesses 3 times. She was check forgery. She was running books on small businesses.
Wow.
And to your point, the going back and forth, if I hadn't had somebody else also validating that my gut feeling, there's definitely a possibility I would have overlooked it because of where I was trying to rush, trying to get the position hired, and I dodged a massive, massive disaster in my business. Could have destroyed me.
Yeah.
So
wow,
it's important. Yeah.
Huge,
crazy.
huge bullet dodge.
This is story time, people.
Yeah. We're doing small white collar crimes. That's
yeah, felonies. Dodged the bullet.
That's crazy. Well, listen, Mike Tinsley, what's going on? Knowledge Brokers Realty, thanks for joining. Tayyab, what's up, man? Dennis, Yahuster, Nick Caliendo,
Yeah, Hooster's my
everybody.
man.
Everybody, thanks for joining. So we're talking to Brady, who's a general contractor. He runs Popularis Construction. He's helped my wife and I out considerably. He's helped a bunch of clients, and he's a good friend of the Torii team about building stronger teams and more and better teams and more resilient teams. So, Brady, I want to talk about that last piece, resilience. Mike and I talk about this a lot, right? And I think in a lot of like, business owners and people who are helping to run businesses talk about this too, because it's not linear. Growth is not linear.
No.
Success is not linear. You're gonna see dips. You're gonna see valleys, and you're gonna see peaks. And you got to kind of like keep kind of like your cool throughout it all, right? And stay even keeled. When you talk about resiliency within your team, like, what does that look like? Like, how do you help make people more resilient and the unit more resilient?
So I think I have 3 kids. It's probably my favorite thing I do is being a father. And the reason is just being able to watch growth before my eyes, being able to be the one of the most, besides my wife, the most important factor in my children learning and growing and being able to expand their minds. And what I try to teach my children is the love of learning. And I believe that is a key factor for my own personal success and getting through failure. So when I'm trying to teach my team, I'm not a micromanager unless things are going really bad. I try to be hands off and let failure happen because a little bit of pain is the best teacher in life. I've learned my best and deepest learned lessons were because I failed at something and I was able to pick myself back up and say, okay, don't do that again. that's a hard no. And I think just allowing the team to exist and in safe instances, allowing some level of failure or some level of self-correction and just being there as more of a support than a manager because maybe they do that one time, but then the next time they're going to own that a lot more in their hearts. They're going to own that mistake and they're going to own the fix. I had a guy that we made a big mistake. It cost us around $8,000 on I think it was a carpet install. We renovated this big mill, and it was around an $8,000 mistake. And we discussed it, and I said, "Listen, you're not going to do that again. We both know that. But let's discuss and like solve the problem. As long as you hire the right person and their intentions are good, then the mistake is not the problem. If you hire the wrong people and they don't care, I mean, you got a whole different set of issues. But if you have the right people, like we're going to make mistakes. And I'm going to make mistakes in my estimating. I'm going to make mistakes in pre-construction. And I have to be able to allow grace to my team to be able to also make mistakes. And it's on me to help be there to support them when they make a mistake, correct it, fix it quickly, or my PM, Tim. We're there to correct those quickly, but to allow that to happen so that we can move forward.
Well put. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll definitely not do that again. But now you're already, why would that employee has already made that mistake? It's part of their learning process. Why would that be a fireable thing? Then somebody else is going to make a different mistake at some point.
Sure.
The intention is huge. I do want to pivot slightly to your social media presence and how you portray yourself on your jobs. It's a very unique thing because a lot of, if there's renovations, it's like this too over the top showy vibe that puts me off, or it's like, maybe somebody who is not as articulate explaining things, and from what I perceive from your social media, is like a very trustworthy, calm, articulate, like, yeah, this thing's great, but I'm going to explain to you like why it is great. So I'm curious as to what type of thought you put into that, how that's evolved, and like, is that a natural thing for you, or is that something that you kind of intentionally work on?
No, I'm just awesome.
Yeah, that's what we want. All right, guys, this has been story time.
Great.
I've known Brady for too long when I knew that was going to be his response.
Just awesome. No, okay, so I think it comes down to likability, knowledgeability, and trustworthiness. Those are the keys to any good sale. I am not a salesman in the fashion that I'm trying to convince you to buy from me. My sales method is I want to show you why you would be foolish not to buy from me. That comes with teaching. I can't tell you anything. I have to show you. So I see social media, and I've been up and down with it. I'm really starting to, the last couple months, really, we've been putting a lot of effort and energy, since the beginning of this year, into the social media piece of it. But my philosophy is just show. Like, this is what we're doing. I want it to be consumable and entertaining and educational all at the same time.
Yeah.
And so showing people things that they would never be able to ultimately see. So I'm kind of trying to capture a larger audience, but at the same time also showing business owners who know what they're looking at that they can also see what we're doing and why it's different.
Mm.
And just proving to the world that we know what we're doing and kind of just being casual about it. I mean, we try to do a little more, it's a little productive, we have a little bit of producing to it, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I mean, it's not on Saad's level. I'm not that cool. I'm not as cool as Saad. My man gets down on IG.
Okay.
But I like to have fun in my own way, right? And what's funny is we started doing this, and when I had a script and all this stuff, like, I had a pile of videos, and I was like, I can't even post these. This is not me. Mm-hmm. I cannot do this if it's not me. And I've been very clear about that as we started to kind of get more into it. It has to be genuine. It has to be like really from the heart, and just me being able to be me. Most of that is, I mean, I don't have any scripts. So I'm going into this just talking about, and it gets easier as I do it because, as you can see, I can talk. But as I get better at it, we're getting a nice flow to the videos. But it's all consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency and just doing it.
I mean, you're speaking our language. Like, literally, you said a bunch of things that Mike and I talk about a lot. Is it Yahooster or Yahooster? He just commented, and confidence. Like, you were talking about likability, being educational and entertaining. You got to have confidence too, right? And that confidence gets portrayed if you're passionate, if you actually know what you're talking about, and if you're genuine, right? And if you're being yourself, like, that I think is like the core to all of this. Like, and I think that's super important. And if you do that yourself as a leader, the people who work with you and for you and with you meaning like both clients and like agents, then they'll kind of like see that, and they'll gravitate towards it. And that's what Mike was talking about when it comes to us growing a team, a stronger, better, bigger, and more resilient team, is kind of doing it yourself. You do those things yourself, your team's going to learn, and that the entire unit is going to be better for it. So, and I think, Brady, that's why I think like your content really spoke to Mike. You know, like Mike obviously doesn't know you as well as I do, but the reason we work with you and keep working with you is because of that, because of
Yeah.
the level of confidence and the level and obviously the likability is there. You obviously know what you're talking about, and we didn't really need to be. We were not sold. We were just kind of like, that's the guy, right? That's the guy, and then you like having the right communication, all that kind of stuff. But it starts with you, and then it trickles down to everybody else you work with. Which, because by the way, when we're getting work done at our place, Brady's not here every time, right? He's not here every time. He's got a lot of other people that he works with, including his dad, who's awesome, right?
Shout out to Cal,
Yeah, exactly.
the
Cal's
OG.
amazing. Um, and I think everybody else learns from that and kind of like becomes a sponge when they see their leader doing that. Yeah, I mean, Mike, any last questions or thoughts?
Uh, is the hat a fixture? Like, is that a style choice that you made a decade ago, or what?
It's not. So my brother-in-law went to London. He works in DC and he travels all over the place. Shout out to Cam. And he brought this back to me
Okay.
from London, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird." And it sat on my shelf for for a while, months. And then I wore it one day, and my wife was like, "Whoa, that looks good on you." There's nothing better. There's nothing better than when your wife's like, "Ooh, you look good in that." And I was like, "Okay, all right." And
Yeah, do it.
I started rocking it, and I couldn't stop.
Love it.
Excellent, excellent.
Love it.
Just keeping it real.
Perfect. Great,
Uh,
great answer. Great answer.
Brady, this was an awesome topic. So thank you for suggesting it. Because obviously we could have gone down eventually we will. We'll have you come back and go maybe a little bit more
I'm
deeper into
always
some of these.
available.
Yeah,
Let's do it
yeah.
every
So,
week.
so we'll make it happen. And for those listening who are new, who maybe follow Brady and know Brady, we do these IG lives every week, different topic. Oftentimes we have guests talking about various things that they're experts in. Thank you, Brady, for being a part of that. And we'll definitely have you back in the coming months. So appreciate your time,
Also,
man.
yeah, story with Torii. It was great.
Story
Yep.
with Torii. Technical difficulties, but we
We
managed.
We
always
worked
make it
through it.
happen. We
Managed
always
to.
make it happen.
It's all
Listen, it's
good.
memorable. It's memorable.
That's right.
Right, son.
He's
Yeah.
Mike. That's Brady. I'm Saad. This is Story Time. Until next week.
Beautiful.
Thank you, guys.
Well done. Good job. I